Hey y'all, it's Heel Heat time.
Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. This is our TNA show for the week. My name is George Coles and let's jump right into it. First off, we got our so-so segments of the night. Basically the stuff that's neither bad, neither good, just really forgettable. First one I want to talk about is the opener with Rude, Bobby Roode, the Broman, Zema Ion, Austin Aries, MVP, the Wolves, and Dixie Carter. Basically hyping up the match for Lockdown this weekend and who's going to be in it. The one revelation coming out is MVP's team's fourth member will be Jeff Hardy, which, if you read the spoilers, everybody knew a month ago. But it is what it is. They started a little fracas, which led us right into the first match of the night. MVP and the Wolves versus Austin Aries, Bobby Roode, and Robbie E., which was a little bit weird to me. I kind of found it weird that you had both the American Wolves, but not both of the Bromans in the match. It was strange. It was an elimination style match. They get their Robbie gets eliminated first, then MVP gets eliminated, MVP gets eliminated, then Eddie Edwards, and then you have Austin Aries and Bobby Roode versus coming down to Edwards. Aries gets disqualified for attacking with the chair, and this is why it turns into the so-so segment of the night. They actually stopped the match and gave him an hour to recuperate. Now, I don't know if this has ever been done before in wrestling. I've watched wrestling for 30 years now. Probably a little bit more. And I've watched wrestling from all different territories, all different angles, indie wrestling, major pro wrestling, Japanese wrestling, Mexican wrestling. But I don't recall ever seeing where somebody got injured and they halted the match and let them come back and finish it later. At least not in a match of this style. Normally when something like that happens, it's to set up that Austin Aries got disqualified so Bobby Roode could win. I don't remember this ever happened. I think I've seen it. I want to say I've seen it where it's been single guys that have got injured and then they came back and redid the match, where they threw out the first match and did the match again. I've never seen where they continued the match. Just a weird thing, and then they come back into the continuation, Richards versus Roode. Roode picks up the win, goes for the crossface and then an arm bar to try and further the damage to the shoulder and an arm of Davey Richards, basically trying to get him out or get him injured for the lockdown match that's happening Sunday. The next up, we're going to jump into our bad segment of the night. Unfortunately, we have one, and it's something that if you watch my shows, either TNA or WWE, you know it's something I complain about a lot. And here it is on TNA. We have a clusterfuck knockout match, a 6-woman tag match, Gail Kim, Lady Tapa, and Alpha Male versus ODB, Madison Rayne, and Velvet Sky. I hate that they do this with the women's division. I really, really hate it. And I know it's starting to sound like a broken record to you guys. I do apologize for that. I don't want to keep saying the same things over and over again. I want to give new insight, new views, new everything. But they do crap like this. They do this shit over and over again. And then at the end they have Sabin kind of like an abusive ex-boyfriend with Velvet, and then almost costing her the loss to Alpha Female, but Velvet picking up the win, surprisingly. It was a very much okay match. The problem when you start putting 6 people in, 8 people in, multiple people in, is everybody gets a little less time. There's an art form to 6-man tag matches. When done properly, or 6 women in this case, they could be a thing of beauty. They could be worked extremely well. Case in point, WWE, the Shield versus the Wyatt family from Elimination Chamber just a few weeks ago. Wonderful match. Given proper timing, everybody got their time to get their moves and stuff in. Just like back in the 80s, we would see the Road Warriors team with Dusty Rhodes quite often. Amazingly good matches. It's these that you get where there's no rhyme or reason, or very little story-wise reason why the people are teaming up. Just basically, here you go, you're here, so get on the show, kind of thing. And they don't give them enough time. They don't give the individual talents time to shine. It ends up being a clusterfuck. You end up getting, there's no emotion built into the match because it's all high. They don't come up high and then bring you low and then high again, and they don't take you through a journey in the storytelling. It's just, oh, heels are winning tag, hot tag, end. Basically it. Now, coming off of that, we're going to go into our question of the week. The question of the week from last week was, seemingly WWE is starting a Thursday night war somewhat with their addition of NXT to the WWE network, where they're running the show, their first airing of the show, in direct competition with TNA. The question was, which show are you going to watch, TNA or NXT? So we got some answers from our friends. First is from Silver84. Not a WWE fan, so I honestly don't care about NXT. Next is from Zombies40. I'm really liking what TNA is doing with the new talent and making the matches mean something because of the build-up. I don't really like NXT. They have some good talents, but the shows feel random. Good criticism there. I like both shows. And so far it's been a 2-week experiment. The first week, the Ascension show, the special for NXT versus TNA, I watched NXT because it was live. And that was my reasoning. I'd rather watch a live show and feel the excitement of what's happening live than a pre-taped canned show. Now this week it was the opposite. I watched TNA. Later on today I'm going to watch NXT. I'm going to watch both either way. It's just a matter of which one am I going to watch at that time slot. Now most of the time it's going to be TNA. If TNA is taped and NXT is live, I prefer live wrestling. Just my thinking. The thing of it is, I don't outwardly look to go to the dirt sheets and get spoilers, but you see them. I mean, you go there if you want to see, everybody looks for stuff, whether it be who's getting fired, who's getting hired, who did this, who did that. A lot of wrestling fans hit the dirt sheets quite often. I hit them probably once or more a day, and it's hard to not see headlines like Bromans beat the Wolves in Japan for titles. You already know that before you go to the show. And stuff like that, it's hard to not see the spoilers, basically, is what I'm saying. And there is a level of kind of interest, kind of like when you were a kid waiting for your birthday or Christmas or whatever it might be, and you seen the presents under your parents' bed, so you take a peek, or it's kind of like that. So a live show to me, where anything can really happen, where you don't know the outcomes and you don't have an idea of what the outcomes will be, it's more exciting to me. So that's what I'm going to take every time. If they're both taped, I'm watching TNA. If one's live and the other's taped, I'm watching the live show. Now, coming off of that, we're going to go into our question of the week for this week. What do you think of the lethal lockdown concept, lockdown concept, I'm sorry, where the whole pay-per-view is steel cage matches? Do you think it's a good idea to have all the matches in the cage? Do you think it's a bad idea? Does it lessen the effect of the cage match? Do you think it's just another pay-per-view? Let us know what you think. Hit us up on Facebook, hit us up on Twitter, put it down where? Down there in the comments. Now coming off of that, we're going to go into our good portions of the night. First up, the Samuel Shaw versus Eric Young match with Mr. Anderson providing ring commentary, taking up Chrissy Hemi's spot because she was scared. Tied in with the interactions after the match. The match was basically thrown out. Anderson gets involved. Samuel Shaw chokes him out with the standing sleeper hold. Or I'm not sure what Taz called it because it's a Japanese word that I don't remember. Which leads us to the rest of the night, Samuel Shaw going through the arena looking for Chrissy Hemi to be told that she's in makeup and finding Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson gets his revenge. I think it was funny that Mr. Anderson got them to chant creepy bastard for him, which he really is, and he's playing. Samuel Shaw, to his credit, has made a fan out of me with the way he's playing this character. I mean, there's something really, really wrong and creepy about it, but something you can't take your eyes off of. I've compared it to it on previous shows. It's kind of like the movie American Psycho or the TV show Dexter. You know that they're bad people and you know that they're doing bad and you know it's wrong, but there's something compelling about the character itself, which makes it interesting, which makes good TV, in my opinion. And it's so different from anything else we've ever seen. Which brings us to next, Ethan Carter III and Kurt Angle. Now last week, as you remember, I didn't like the interaction they had. This week I thought it was better. I thought Ethan Carter had more of a chance to shine, and maybe the nerves weren't with him as much as they were last week, but this week he stepped it up, and he stepped it up to the plate where you could believe he'd be in a match in the ring with Kurt Angle. And he attacked Angle, he put him in a leg lock, trying to further injure him again. It was very believable. It was very cool. I enjoyed it. It was a very vast improvement over what we seen from the same two guys last week. Now, another thing that I thoroughly enjoyed, and I've enjoyed their feud all the way through, is Gunner and James Storm. Their little confrontation. The best part, in my opinion, because they really didn't say anything different than they normally do, was at the end, James Storm goes with a low blow on Gunner, further showing us that James Storm will do anything to win, which I think is going to help taking a guy that's been a face for a good long time and help bring him to the heel side and help us, help with that transition. Now, last but not least, the last segment of the show, Samoa Joe and Magnus, was a great piece of advertisement for the Lockdown pay-per-view. These guys got it. They went out there, they explained their history, they explained their present, they explained their characters, they explained what they're going to try to do to each other, they explained why you would cheer for Magnus, why you would cheer for Joe. Magnus, far and away, came out of this smelling like roses. After most of his title run, he's been booked like shit. He's coming out smelling like a rose in this segment. Samoa Joe, who's looked awesome over the last month or so, and the build-up to this, still looks awesome, and it's a main event that I'm waiting to see, that I want to see. And kudos to both of the guys for selling this the way they did. I thought it was very good. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was a segment of the night by far. Now, coming off of that, we're going to go into our rating system. If you've seen the show before, you know we have a 1 to 5 scale, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. 1's a Garrett Bischoff, 2's a Jesse Goddard, 3's a James Storm, 4's a Christopher Daniels, 5's a Bobby Roode. I'm going to give this show a 3, a James Storm on it. Some of this stuff, like I said, a lot of forgettable stuff. Really only one good wrestling match, one match that I enjoyed. The others were okay, at best. But the show was carried by its talking segments, which brought up the ratings a lot, don't get me wrong. But I'm a wrestling fan. I want to see wrestling. And this show was just middle of the road. They could have done better to set up the pay-per-view. Joe and Magnus did wonderful setting it up. The rest of the night, not so much. For a go-home show, I want to be hyped so bad that I can't wait till the pay-per-view, till the night of the pay-per-view. I can't wait to see what happens. And there's some things, the Joe and Magnus match, I can't wait to see what happens. A lot of the other stuff I really don't care about. But basically, that's all I have to say about this. My name is George Coles, and this has been another episode of Heel Heat.